Hey guys, Scott here with Surf and Shore. We are going to go through some of my favorite band exercises, really try and get the shoulder loosened up. This is going to be more of a joint-oriented band mobility, where we're going to actually try and get as close as we can onto kind of that humeral portion, the elbow side of the shoulder. We're going to try and actually get the joint to slide a little bit better. If you look at the shoulder, the way that it's worked out is you have kind of the glenoid, which is going to be scapular side, and then you have humeral head, which is going to be the arm going down, and then you have this little overhang. It's called a acromion process. A lot of times you'll hear people have impingement. That means that the little humeral head or neck is rolling up and it's hitting into that acromion process. So one way that we can get rid of that shoulder impingement is if we add a little bit more slide into that joint, so that as we're going up overhead, it's not just rolling up and hitting into that acromion process, it's rolling up, but then it's also sliding down so that it adds a little bit of clearance so that we don't get that pinch as we are going up overhead. Especially if you see that you have limited motion, we're just kind of coming up here and you stop, especially if it's side to side. This is going to be a really good way to get rid of that, or at least improve it. Sometimes the joint takes a little bit of time depending on how long it's been tight and how long things have been going on. So we're going to start off just nice and easy, general overhead stretch with the band. So band's going to loop around the foot and then it's going to come up. I want it right around the t-shirt line. So again, on the elbow or hand side of the actual shoulder itself. A lot of times you'll see people up here where it's kind of on upper trap. I don't want it on upper trap. I really want it out here if the arm is down. So going up, going on here, hooking the hand on the wall, and then from here we're just going to go hips back, little lean forward, and then if you need a little bit more on that stretch, or you want to kind of play with those different angles, you can kind of pull in, push out a little bit, push away from yourself. All of those are going to be little ways to go. You don't always have to wind it up all the way to end range. Sometimes if you go just shy of that end range, you can actually get a little bit more out of the stretch and get everything moving a little bit better. If you're all the way at end range, everything is really wound up, so you might not be able to sink into those tissues as much as I would like you to. So if you feel like you're at end range, back off a little bit. Try that a little bit and see if it works a little bit better. If the arm, hand, anything goes tingly or numb, take a break, rest, shake it out a little bit, wait for everything to kind of come back, whether that's nerve flow, blood flow, kind of depends on the issue. That can also indicate something else is going on. If the shoulder is really tight, it can be pushing on some of those nerves that can cause some things going down into the arm as well, or it could also be coming up from the neck, some of the neural tension stuff. Next one we're going to go through, we're going to hook this onto something. Ideally, rig. If you're at home, you can also hook this into the doorway. They make some really good doorway mounts that you can hook this into. From here, we're going to go same position. I want it on the elbow side of the shoulder. We're going to go hand behind back. We're going to rotate a little bit away, just for angle of pull, and then we're just going to lean forward a little bit. And nice and easy, we're really just letting gravity kind of take us, and we're letting the band resist. I don't really want to fight the band. I really want to try and let that band do the work and let it relax to try and get the shoulder joint moving. This is going to help a lot, especially with that hand behind the back. If you lack some internal rotation, this is going to be a really good way to isolate out that internal rotation. Next one, you're going to go the other way. So band is going to stay in the same place, but on this one, we're just going to go up, overhead. Same thing, that little bit of lean away. If you want, you can also add a little stretch onto that elbow and pull it up a little bit more. This one is really good for front rack. If you have problems getting into that kind of elbow up position with the shoulder, this is a really good way to help improve that kind of flexion. Plus you're also getting a little bit of external rotation as specific right way for this. A lot of times, just individually, we can have different joint angles within the shoulder itself. So play around with those different angles. One might fit you a little bit better. You'll kind of feel a little different pull, a little different sensation at one of those angles. That's where I also want you to kind of stick, hang around, and move at to try and get the shoulder joint moving a little bit better. So next one we're gonna do, it's gonna be very similar, but on this one we're just gonna go wrapped around the hand. This is gonna be more of a general stretch. It might not be as specific to the actual joint itself, but it's still a really good way, same thing, to improve that front rack, where we're just trying to go up overhead. Again, I don't really want you resisting, I don't want you pulling. I really want to try and stretch out lats, a little bit of the side. You can also play around with just angle of everything else here. But again, just trying to get into a little bit better position where we can get up a little bit higher into those. That's going to be a nice little band warm-up series. It's going to kind of hit flexion, internal rotation, external rotation. If you find that you have other limitations, other issues, you can definitely play around with the band. You can even go out and kind of snatch positions and things like that. Especially if you do have a rig, there's a lot of other variations that you can try. This is a nice starting place. Try these out first.